Evening, everyone. Welcome back to yet another live stream, of course, every Wednesday night, going through, of course, yesterday's 1-0 win against Barrow, and, of course, going over, which looks to be, and is going to be, a very tough game, of course, away at Newport, Rodney Parade on Saturday. Of course, if you do enjoy, smash the like button. Of course, if you're watching on the replay, then do leave your score predictions. Of course, if you're watching live, get your comments in as always. As always, we always do get involved within the chat. And of course, to subscribe if you're new as well. And just keep up the class support. Really do appreciate it. Of course, joined by Neil and Benji tonight. Going, of course, last night, you got a few stats to read first as well. Of course, 2 points off the playoffs, 5 clean sheets out the last 6, 1 loss in 13, and 7 home games unbeaten. And of course, the other stat, if no one's seen it already, that was on Twitter earlier, we've also got the most points out of 2022 so far out of every League 2 team, which is crazy. 25 points. But yeah, as we always do, going to go through, of course, the lineups, etc. I'll get your thoughts, Benji, first. First of all, what did you make of the starting 11? Because of course it was very interesting when it come out. Of course, Whelan coming in, Leon Clark, Anderton, of course, back as well, and of course Finley, Coots, and Collins on the bench. What did you make of the lineup and how we played?
Lineup, I got 10 out of 11 on FanHub. I was quite pleased with that. The only real surprise for me was Leon Clark starting. I had Lofty up front because obviously he's been coming on for cameos. I know he's got a lot of stick recently, but but once he gels it, he'll do. He's there to do a job. He's there to add physicality, strength, height, and he runs back quite a lot and aggressively. It's just the problem is that sometimes his end product can be really scrappy and off colour. So like he got booked against Orient, I think, and made a few rash tackles. I think he deserves it. He obviously deserves a start and to show us what he can do at some point. So anyway, I had him up top. I was surprised that Leon Clark started. In one sense, I wasn't, because obviously he's an experienced target man, and that's what you want against some people who've got some real sort of like tenacity in a team like Barrow. But I thought the physicality of Loft would make it. I knew we'd rest some players. So I was fairly pleased, I guess, with the lineup. We're resting key players for the fixture against Newport. It was a tough night, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I think not many people were talking about the conditions beforehand, and I wasn't there, but you could see, the conditions would have a real impact on the game. Negates our footballing side of play. I actually thought we did quite well. I don't think anyone was really on immense form. Evans, for example, I said on Twitter that even when he's not quite 100%, and let's be honest, he was still really good, in some of his passing. Like Frosty pointed out, he made the key pass for the red card. He still comes up with that bit of, that bit of magic. And then the best thing about Rovers is we've got so many of those people up front. It could be a Collins, it could be a Nicholson, it could be an Evans, and Elliot Anderson, or whoever, or even Luke Thomas. One of them is going to come out with a bit of quality in a game that's going to score you a goal. Got lucky at the other end, and Belly did well as well. And it's just one of those games where the luck's been on our side and our persistence has paid off. I thought the other thing that people were frustrated with Whelan as well. I thought he had a really good game, because there were a few times where he could have, tried to play a key pass through the middle when he was, because Whelan you wouldn't normally see push so far forward, but he was literally almost on the edge of the D for half the match. And so actually I thought he was really composed there. And it was a clear tactic to spray it wide, left and right, rather than, just try and cut through the middle. And so I thought he did, he worked to his instructions well. But the very point that I was sat there thinking, we need to try something different, go through the middle. Evans just does something completely different, just bangs it straight on top bins. And I don't care about the rest of the game. I've watched that strike about 50 times. It'll be 60 by the end of tonight, and that's all I'm going to remember from that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to say, evening to a few people, evening to Regan, thanks for tuning in, UTG, Wayne also, evening to you, UTG, evening to Paul as well. Hi, Charlie, how you doing, mate? Another great win for the Gas, looking good for promotion. Yeah, all good. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, fingers crossed we can keep up the, especially like I said, read out most points in 2022. So we just got to keep on playing the way we are. And even last night wasn't terrible, but I think credit has to go, like I said on my reaction, credit has to go to Barrow, to be honest, because they made it hard for us. They frustrated, they defended really well, of course, really deep. Of course, there's been a bit of an issue this season where a lot of teams, even the Barrow away game, like Jerry said, it was hard to break down. Of course, they went down to 10 men around pretty much the same. But yeah, evening to Chris as well. Big up the panel. Evening to Rob Stavek as well. Oi. Chris saying, obviously, I'm happy you beat Barrow. Yeah, fair play to you, though. Another good win for Carlisle, 2 in a row. Evening to Tom as well. If Evans was in the Prem, that goal would be all over TV. Yeah, absolutely. Evening to you, though. Thanks for tuning in. Evening to Riley as well. Evening, lads, UTG. Evening to the Pigeon, 86 as well. Great streamers always have to come on and apologise for slating Collins early on in the season. Great result last night. Saturday's game could be like Exeter with both sides not wanting to lose. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it happens. You say stuff like, even me with all the Barton slander on, that's what happens. You say stuff on the spot and things turn around. Evening to Jamie as well. Appreciate you tuning in and saying evening, guys. Evening to Tom as well. Evans was having a stinker, but that's why you don't take him off, because he's got that. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one with Evans. I thought there was parts where he done well, like you seen on the highlights, the ball across to Anderson. Of course, like Benji brought up the red card. That was his ball over the top for Leon Clark. And then, of course, he nearly scored the other, because from that angle in the first half, when I think it's when Harry Anderson crossed it come off the post, and then Evans had that shot. It was a worldy save, to be honest. And then, of course, the goal. But getting your thoughts, Neil. Of course, what did you make of the changes? Of course, the 3 changes coming in, resting a few players, and then your thoughts on the game.
I mean, the side itself was clearly with Newport in mind, wasn't it? I said in the week, you should be able to play you want against Barrow and get a result. Really, like that's the standard we're at now. Like, and the chopping and changing, I wouldn't fuss by it, to be honest. Ultimately, personnel's there is to go and beat Barrow, and we should have done, really. I felt, come the end of the game, I felt Barrow should have got something from that. Like, as good as we were moving it and shifting it and all the rest of it, for the game plan that Barrow had, they executed it near on perfect. I thought they were brilliant, Barrow, for considering they're 20th. They got no money. They've had a man sent off. They got a manager in the stands. I thought they were incredible. We plugged away. We kept doing what we needed to do to get there in the end. But I mean, I don't like Evans in there, to be honest. I've said it before. I just don't like him in there. I just think you're going to get a 6 out of 10 out of him. You lose so much out of him. If it was for me, I'd have put Elliot Anderson in with Whelan and played Evans in the hole. He plays the hole so much better than what I think Elliot Anderson, like I said, the way he plays, he's busy all the time. He wants to be involved in everything all the time. So with Whelan being able to just screen with one because they were so deep, or just go and let him join in because he wants to go and get the ball so deep. He follows his pass and everything he does. That's how he plays. He gets it, gives it to get it back.
Yeah.
When you're playing in the 10, you've got to be that little bit cuter. And Evans plays it well because he just drifts off of people. He acts as though he's not interested. He just drifts off people to find space, and then he can do his work. Just think you lose so much from Evans going in there. Like, I'd have switched it round. Like, Barton sees him every day. He knows miles better than me. Don't get me wrong, and he sees him every day and he works on things. But for identifying a player for what they're good at and how their game marries up, I'd have switched them 2 round, to be honest, and just let Elliot Anderson go and get on the ball as much as you could and go through the lines and leave Evans in that pocket. Come the winner, you're sort of thinking, I understood the subs. I know people were saying, like, a few people were murmuring, like, why is he dragged Anderson for Loft? But you had to go. I can see what Barton's trying to do. He's trying to get every single option he can get out of that side, like whether you've got to go short, long, deep, high, back stick, throw it across. Come the end of it, he had every option he could get on that pitch. You can't ask no more. If we'd have ended up drawing 0-0, you can't look at him and go, you didn't do enough to change it, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. But come the end, it was going to, like I said to you before with Evans, he gives you a moment, no matter, even if he's playing that hole all game, you can't drag him because he'll deliver you a moment. If anyone's going to deliver you a moment out of all of them, it'll be him. And that's what he did. He popped up, and players like that are worth their weight in gold. You know, they could do nothing all game, but they'll come up with something. And it was going to take something like that to get the goal, because I thought Farman was excellent for him. He just was no getting by him. He was just having one of them games. And it was going to take something like that for us to get the winner. But come the goal going in, then we had 10 minutes of absolute chaos because we flooded our side with attacking threat, which you had to do. Fair enough. But then when Barrow resort to playing fuck it football with no structure whatsoever, we don't have that defensive structural capability to deal with it. So you're asking players to do jobs they're not familiar with. And Barrow know that, so they play fuck it football. There's no plan to anything. You just got to hold on and try your best, and that's where Belly earns his money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was weird, especially when we brought on, because by that point we had pretty much all attackers on as well, wasn't it? So it was hard. But yeah, fair play to Belshaw. Didn't really have much to do a lot of the game, but when he had to, he was class again. Got a bit lucky as well with coming off the post. It was madness. But yeah, luckily we got the win in the end. And like I said, 5 clean sheets out of 6. And then when you're not playing that well, and like you said, when we've got Evans and players like that, you've got a moment. But I agree with you as well. He's wasted Evans playing that deep, absolutely wasted. When you've got Anderson, like you said, he always wants the ball, and like you said, they and it happened in the Exeter game as well, where Evans was in that centre mid bit as well, and it needs to surely his position, now, what is it, 29 games in all comps, 9 goals, 9 assists, and most of them is from playing from just behind the striker. Again, of course, we didn't have loads of chances last night, but to be honest, the chances we did have were pretty big ones. Of course, you had the Leon Clark chance in the second half. I don't know how he missed, and that was at Evans. That was one of the... I want to get your guys' thoughts. I'll go with you, Benji, first. What was your thoughts? Because really, apart from the cross from Evans into Leon Clark for that really big chance in the second half, what did you make? And what did you make of the crosses in and the balls in? Because really, most of the night they were pretty poor, weren't they? The balls into Leon Clark. I've seen people like, "Oh, Leon Clark had a terrible game," but to be fair, the service was poor to him all night. We put a big man up there, and we didn't get the quality on the crosses in the box, did we?
No, you're right. And then it always seemed like it wasn't just the final balls. It was about the bit of luck as well. The bit of luck didn't come to us. Sorry, dog's whining again. Bit of luck didn't come to us. The final balls were just too long or just too short. But yeah, Leon Clark should have stuck that in the net, or at least got it on target. I think he went with the wrong foot. He tried to open himself up, and in doing that, his left foot's gone up and taken it over. Whereas the right foot would have just had to literally just get the flick on, and that's all. And then it should have been in. But one of those nights, like, it doesn't matter if Evans doesn't deliver a decent cross all night. He's just going to deliver you a goal like that, or an assist for a corner or something, isn't he? So it'll all be forgotten. It's one of those off nights, and we've found a way to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Riley said, I thought Whelan yesterday showed me. I mean, to be fair, he was too far out anyway. But that's what I liked, and a lot of. And, credit to, a lot of people seen it as well, that he was very good, kept the ball moving, also made some very clinical tackles as well when Barrow, where we had the ball, lost it on the edge of the box, and they went to counter-attack. And, yeah, I thought he was very good, considering he's 38 years of age. He doesn't play a lot of minutes. He usually plays about 20 minutes, if that. But, yeah, for him to play as well as he did last night, and he's just that guy, and he keeps the ball moving. Got the experience a few times. He went down, etc. But yeah, he was very good. Even to James as well. Appreciate you tuning in as always. Newport going to be tough. Sorry, they haven't lost at home in 6. Saying that, the last time we went there, we won 4-1. Roll on, Ryan Loft, masterclass. Yeah, Whelan was good. I meant, what do you think of Roman Abramovich? I didn't really care. He's just an idiot anyway. Yeah, Riley, Kian as well. Even to you, I have a feeling we're going to get a last-minute winner at Newport. Hopefully, that would be nice. We still have John Nolan. Yeah, we still got him as well. Yes, should be interesting to see when he actually plays his first amount of minutes as well. Yeah, exactly. We still got him as well. Whelan, Coots. There's so many different options. I think would be nice to have a game. Where he can sort of come on for like a half or maybe half an hour if we're winning by a few. But yeah, we'll have to see. Even into Bristol Rovers fan as well, Evans should have been on the edge of the box instead of Whelan. Yeah, even in the second half, because a lot of the times we were going down the right second half, he wasn't. A lot of the time he was sort of staying back a bit. He wasn't making those usual runs that he does. But in the end, like we've all said, when he's got that quality, and he sort of only seems to score worldies as well. Most of his goals are from outside the box as well. And yeah, it's just crazy how good he's worked out. Considering before he joined us, he wasn't really that good, or hasn't had a spell of scoring goals or assisting goals. And yeah, it's just worked really. Tom Butler saying Clark did okay, but I think it will always be better coming on for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it was good to see him play really, but yeah, like we said, it wasn't. It's just that the balls in the box weren't very good anyway, and of course, when he did get his chance, he should have scored, but went with the wrong foot. Matt saying I felt like it was a goal coming of being, yeah, exactly, for being around their penalty box for a while. Even to Mitch as well. Even to Charlie, Neil, and Benji, appreciate you tuning in. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I know there probably wasn't really a standout, but if you was to give it to anyone, Neil, who would you say the standout player, or was there a few, or what do you think in your mind?
I think over the course of 90 minutes at different stages of it, you'd look at probably through the middle of it be Belly, Whelan, and Evans really for what they contributed into that game. I think you'd have to pick one of them three really for all different reasons. I mean, Whelan keeps us structured. He keeps the plan. He doesn't let us deviate away from what we do. No matter if it's working early doors or not, he just makes us keep going. He pretty much like for like replacement. You bring Coots out, you put Whelan in, and they do exactly the same thing. Their football IQ is pretty similar, and they know exactly what they need to do to keep us moving. Belly earned his money last 10 minutes. He made a good stop early doors, though, to be honest, as well. Could have gone 1-0 down if he didn't keep that out. And then obviously, when Evans goes into the pocket, he's a different player, completely different player when he plays as a 10. And he come up with a moment, didn't he? Won us the game, and that's what I mean. That's what I said. Most good sides have someone like that, and thankfully we got one.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitch also said, I think the standout. Yeah, also going with Belly as well, kept us in the game. I mean, your thoughts, Benji, as well. What did you what did you make of? Do you sort of agree what Neil's been saying and everyone in the comments?
Yeah, entirely. Different people, pulled it out of the bag at different minutes, really. It was Belly at the end and also early doors as well. Thought Harry Anderson had a good game as well. I thought he was unlucky not to score very early on. You just get full on effort from commitment from every time he plays, or every position that he plays in as well. Whelan was really effective with what he did, and I'm glad he got a lot of praise on social media last night, because his role and what he was asked to do in that, it was clearly obviously to sit, but then when they went down to 10 was to, like I said to you earlier, to get the ball left and right, to try and drag him out of shape and be patient in that. And he's an experienced head, and he did a really good job. So the actual things that he produced in terms of his game are never going to stand out unless you watch him intently, and he just did what he was asked to do so well. I'm not even going to go over Evans because that's just an outstanding finish. And yeah, so there's quality right throughout the team. So those are the people that stand out. And I'm sure it'll be different people, earning their dollar, paying their rent on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with this as well. And most people will probably say as soon as he you just knew it was going in. It's one of those where as soon as it come off his laces, and it looks even better on the highlights as well. I mean, it looked amazing in person, but even on the highlights, just how hard and how fast it just flew in the top bins, and keeper couldn't do, even though that Farman was quality, their keeper all night. He had no chance with that. But I mean, I want to get if there was any sort of, I don't really like calling out players or bringing the negatives, but if there was any few players or a player, just to say that you didn't think had the best of games, Neil, who would you say that was sort of disappointing for you last night? If there was one.
Without digging at anyone too much, really, or saying it a player, we're still not ruthless in front of goal. That game could have been done for us, really, and we're still at the point now where we're not ruthless in front of goal. I mean, I'm sure the penny will drop at some point, but that could have been another game that got away from us if we weren't careful. And for me, I think if you're gonna say it about anyone really who's the worst at it, you'd say that's where Nicholson has to improve his game. I think he could be a 15-20 goal man if in this sort of division, if he was really on it, and he could go cold in front of goal. He just doesn't, and I don't know if that's going to stick with him because I don't know what he is now. Like maybe like 26. I don't know. I don't know if that's just going to stick with him now, and he's going to be that guy. But all good wide players that can finish, they go cold in front of goal. They don't think too much. They're not erratic, and he is, unfortunately. And if he could add that to his game, he'd be frightening, Nicholson, and he'd do us the world of good. Like, because that's where you can get good points over the course of the season, where players chip in with goals like that because they can weigh in with 10, 12 here and there. But yeah, that's where I think Nicholson could improve his game is finishing. But overall, we're not ruthless enough in front of goal yet for me.
Yeah, yes, it's a weird one because even last night I thought he was on the ball. He was really good, got into dangerous positions. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Whether he just because he's good with both feet as well, but it's weird with him. He just sort of.
It's the hardest thing to do, mate, isn't it? The hardest thing to do in football, score goals. It's the hardest thing to do. If you can nail that, you're worth a fortune, ain't you?
Yeah, he just sort of freezes, which is weird. But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, there ain't really many. I mean, getting your thoughts, Benji. What did you make of? Do you sort of agree with just with talking about Sammy Nicholson?
100% on Sammy Nick. Yeah, I think he's so good running at people on the ball, like you say. And Barton said earlier in the season as well that he doesn't always, like when he's having an off game, he doesn't always run at people, and that's what we want your forwards to do, particularly someone as pacey and as tricky as Sammy Nick. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy, and he's obviously a big character in the dressing room. I watched him intently last night as well, and his driving at people was so good. But the end product has been missing. You only have to look at the Port Vale game at home where he missed an absolute sitter to win it. We shouldn't have lost that game, but we're obviously fatigued from the Oxford game. And so I didn't want to call him actually out as the worst player because I think he was quite effective in driving the box, particularly in the first half hour as well. I thought Leon Clark didn't really bring loads last night. Positionally, he's experienced and he gets in the right positions, but it was his end product that was just off, and he just had one of those off nights. I think there was one early on, and he was on the right hand side of the box, and he took a touch which was so heavy that he had to extend his leg and couldn't get the power on the shot to trouble the keeper. And then obviously that miss in the second half as well was just wrong foot. That was, if he goes right foot, that's in. So I think a lot of players were playing at like 70% last night, with the end product and the lack of clinicality in front of goal. You could see that, but no one was really disappointing. It's just a few people had off nights. That's all.
Yeah. Regan said, I think Nicholson will be like Collins when he scores one. He'll keep scoring. I don't know. It's just his thing because he got that one at Oldham, and of course Stephen is. But that's a good. Like, just imagine how effective he would be if he could. But he still brings a lot to the team, and like you said, he is effective running at players. Mitch saying, I've got to admit, like Neil said, we got to finish and be critical in front of goal. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, if you're enjoying it so far, keep smashing the like button. If we can get 30 likes on the live, that'd be class. But of course, now going into the Newport game, of course, as we always do, we'll start off with the old, the previous meeting in the league this season, of course. The men, which finished Rovers 1, Newport 3, of course. The Port Pie Pele scoring, and then Baker Richardson, and of course Dominic Telford, who's on fire, scored 2. And Rovers actually went with a 4-4-2, which is interesting this game. Of course, Belshaw in goal, Harry Anderson at right back, Kilgore Taylor centre back, Anderton left back, Thomas on the right, Nicholson on the left, Whelan and Evans in centre mid, and then Collins and Pittman up front. But getting your thoughts, Neil. What did you make of that whole game? I think we talked about it a few times this season, them sorts of games where we had Swindon and Newport, and of course for me they're probably even though I thought we were pretty poor that game, I thought they were probably the second best team I've seen this season. Behind Swindon, after the home games. But yeah, what did you make of us and them that game?
I thought we were terrible. We were terrible that game. As good as Newport were, but we just lacked all the fundamentals to win that game. We got bullied, outfought. Like, they weren't desperately great on the board. I don't think. Like, you look at like the way Swindon absolutely bossed us off the park, like where we couldn't even get closer. Sometimes you got hold your hands up and go, you know what? We got beat by a far better side today. It wasn't even about that with Newport. They were just hungrier. They were more determined. They had a clear plan, and they came to bully us. And if you look at what we are now compared to what we were then, no one's bullying us now. Like that
No.
just ain't happening now. Like if they implement that on Saturday, that won't work. But back then, when was it? Like sort of October?
Yeah.
That we folded. We absolutely folded as a side. So I don't really think it was anything to do with Newport being desperately great. Don't get me wrong. The centre forwards are frightening, but that is again down to a lot of bullying, to be honest. Like Baker Richardson absolutely give Anderton horrible time. Like it was like watching milk turn. It was terrible, mate.
Yeah.
And then Telford's just kicked on from where he was anyway. Like he's a good finisher. He is what he is. He's a good centre forward. But there's no way in this world I'm that concerned about that front line with the back four we've got now. They'll set up completely different to what they did because they'll go with a diamond now that they've got their, obviously was it their new gaffer in charge. I think it was his first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, his first game as well. Yeah,
But
and of course he was linked with us as well, wasn't he? When I think before we signed Garner and when we were looking for a new manager before Button come here as well. But yeah, that was his first game in charge. So new manager bounce.
He's switched stuff about with their side. He's gone to like a diamond in the middle. He's brought that Azaz in. He's brought that Ollie Cooper in, and they've been great for him, granted. But as far as a setup for what you'll see on Saturday, it'll be completely different for both of us. It's a brand new game. I don't think either manager will look back at it and say this is what we need to take from what we. It's a clean slate for both of them.
Yeah.
It's a completely clean slate for both of them, to be honest. But yeah, back then they were head and shoulders better than us just through because they had better fundamentals than we did. Their attitude was bang on. They knew exactly what they were about. They came with a direct plan to come and get amongst us, and we folded.
Yeah. I completely agree. But yeah, getting your thoughts, Benji, as well. What did you make of that? Do you sort of agree in the different aspects within the game?
So that was actually, I think, the one game apart from the FA Cup matches that I wasn't able to watch. So I didn't watch it, but just thinking back to it, I think we'd not long gone 4-4-2 then, and we went 4-4-2 as a response to solving a problem of not being able to play with three at the back, which at the time was ironic because Button said obviously he'd signed all his players to play that style and formation. But Neil said the same point that I was going to make, and that you can't draw anything from that game. We're a complete different side. They're obviously different in how they approach the game as well. Now, similar personnel, apart from the manager, we're a completely different side. And I think what we've got to hope is that we continue this trend of handing out beatings, or rather beating teams that we should have done earlier in the season but didn't. So Leyton Orient, we did that to Barrow and we couldn't win against 10 men. I thought it was quite appropriate that we did it against 10 men this time. So we've got to hope that Newport are on that list as well. But it's just going to be. It's going to be a good game. I think they've got a lot of goals in them. So you have to point at Telford, and he's probably going to score, most days rather than not. And so if I was a betting man, I wouldn't be picking a result, but I'd be picking both teams to score instead. So it's going to be a good game with some quality on the show. For me, the formation change that Neil picked up on is a key thing as well. And so they're going to be smart about it. They're going to have a lot of legs in them as well in that Newport midfield. And equally so are we. You pick 4-4-2 diamond against 4-2-3-1, and then if we get width, they're going to have to be covering a lot outside, but then they're going to try and attack us through channels and through the centre as well. And so there'll be a lot of leg work going on. People like Sam Finley winning the battle, but also getting creative, and Anthony Evans are going to be key in that game for us. So I'm really excited about it, nervous as well, but let's hope we can get the win.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because obviously, like you both talked on, at that stage they were, and to be fair, a lot of the season they have played a 3-5-2, with the wing backs. But of course, it's going to be a bit interesting as well because even though they've had a few injuries, of course, in the last few games, they're still on very good form. But Baker Richardson, who of course was a handful, he's out injured for 6 weeks. They've also got another centre back, Josh Pask, out injured for 6 weeks. And Robbie Wilmot as well, the midfielder. But like I said, they still got quality. They still had a very good result on Saturday at home against Tranmere, smashing them 4-2. And of course, the good result last night against Forest Green at home, where they did go 1-0 up, but finished 1-1. And again, another big one last night. I don't think it should impact them a lot, but if anyone doesn't know, they had a man sent off last night, and it was our ex-player James Clark. So he is not available for the weekend, which is a good thing. But I think I'll actually get it up on my phone very quickly. Of course, Neil mentioned the diamond And like I said, even with their injuries, I think they're still play. They're still play with it as well. But pretty much, I think they'd only. Obviously, we'll see on the weekend, but it'd probably be Townsend in goal, be a back four of Norman, Dolan, Demetriou, Lewis, Cooper sitting with Bennett, Azaz, and Kane in the middle, and then Street and Telford up front. But of course, we know their star players. Of course, Telford absolutely on fire this season, having the game of his life. I think he's on in the league. He's got 2 assists and 24 goals in 25 games, which is crazy. And like we said, we talked about Azaz, who's actually on loan from Villa there, 5 goals and 5 assists, and Ollie Cooper as well, 1 goal and 9 assists. But of course, we're getting in. We look at the league table. Of course, as most of you know, they're 6th in the league. Played a game more than us, won 14, drew 11, lost 9. Currently on 53 points. And of course, Rovers last night, of course, after a lot of teams' results went our way, we moved up 1 place to 9th. And if we do win, fingers crossed, it would be nice to win. Of course, it is going to be tough, but if we do win, we do go above them and into the playoffs. We'd go 1 point above them. But also going to look at home form. Of course, James mentioned it earlier in stream. But home form, as you see there, 7th in the league for them. Played 17, won 8, drew 6, and they've only lost 3 of their 17 home games, getting 30 points as well. In the last 5, they've won 2 and drew 3, scored 11 and conceded 8. And the other interesting thing as well that I looked at before we went live is that their game with us on the weekend will be their 5th home game in a row, which is mad. And of course, their home form's really good as well. But of course, our away form is improved a lot as well. Of course, currently we're 10th overall, played 16, won 5, drew 6, lost 5, 21 points. But the last 5, of course, won 3, of course, beat Scunny, Stevenage and Orient, drew against Sutton away. And of course, the only real big slip up in the last 13 games is Oldham away, but we scored 11 and conceded 5 as well. But as we know, we're going there on very good form as well. So, hopefully we can keep it up. Getting sort of with you, Benji, how do you think it's impacted with the confidence of the team? And of course, mainly it's been pretty much the same team as well. So what are your, of course we've got, the likes of Crawley as well coming up and etc. What are your thoughts on sort of the rest of the season and of course our form in general, and how confident are you with us at the moment?
If you're trying to ask the question, can we get promotion, then the answer is yes, because I'm a dreamer. Can we get playoffs? Yes, definitely. I think, if we beat Newport, we go above them, simple as, and we've still got a game in hand. They released a great article from the Bristol Post today with the connotations of what could happen with promotion. I think we're looking at an 80-point mark to get to the top 3. I'm not thinking about that whatsoever at the moment. I think let's just get in the playoffs. Crawley beat Forest Green though, and we've got them away next on Tuesday, so that's going to be a tough one. Newport away is going to be a very tough game as well. But there are a lot of tough games, but it's within our hands. The destiny is within our hands now. Excuse my dog, because we play 6 of the promotion challenges over the next 13 games or so, and that's an opportunity to take points off them and move up the ladder. But it's also an opportunity to mess it up and go the other way, and the lads will be aware of that. I'm confident we can do it. I think we only need probably about 7 wins or so and a couple of draws to get to the playoffs. Can we do it? Time will tell, but I think we can with momentum on our side.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because as long as we keep playing the way we do, of course, even into Tom, BRC Tom as well. Even if fellas we're finishing top, tomorrow will be massive. Saturday, but yeah. It will be a good advert. Probably one of the best games. Benji, what breed is your dog? Says Matt.
One that barks far too much whilst he shouldn't be. He's a little spaniel crossed with a Jack Russell, but he's not got any Jack Russell in him other than the size. So he's basically like a miniature spaniel. But he's a bit of a loony after he's had his tea, and he starts to wake up with all that energy as well. So I'm trying to distract him with a bone here, but it's not working.
But yeah, yes, it's going to be, like you said, it is going to be interesting. I mean, getting your thoughts, how, we talked about it with us keeping the same same teams. And you said it before, with set pieces and different thing, and just playing the way we are. How confident? Not exactly playoffs, etc., but how confident are you in general with us at the moment? And our form as well against these better teams, which we're going to be playing in the next 13 games.
We're the best we've been, aren't we? Ultimately, we're the best we've been all season. Like we've Barton sort of, whether he meant to or not, stumbled across a system that suits us down to the ground. His recruitment, people want to knock him and they'll find a way of knocking Barton as best they can, but ultimately his recruiting's been excellent. Like, I think Mark Hughes and Luke Thomas are his two bad ends, really. There is two real bad ends. I mean, Pittman didn't come off, but that was for the injury. But I mean, his recruitment's been good. We interchange. He makes good subs. I just think we've gelled so much better. We know exactly what we're at. The two centre halves on loan have been unreal of late. I mean, since Connolly's come in, we've been excellent. I mean, from Peterborough onwards, that's pretty much where it's turned, from Peterborough onwards. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's all down to Connolly, but it's a big piece of the puzzle. Yeah. And we're the best we've been. And if we carry on going like we are, then yeah, we should get there. Don't mean we're going to go up. We should finish in top 7. Then the real work starts. People get excited by top 7, but it don't mean you're up. You've got it all to get up. Yeah. So finishing top 7 could mean absolutely nothing come the end. But yeah, we're the best. That's the best you can hope for at the minute. It's the best we've been, and we can just keep chipping away at it to get that little bit better week on week. With what have we got? 15 left. We just keep 13 left even. Sorry, just keep chipping away at it to get that little bit better. Then, and when I say that little bit better, really all that little bit better is being ruthless, because we've pretty much nailed down our pattern of play and how we are. I mean, we're watertight for me defensively. I know we conceded the other day, but you're never going to keep, like I said, 5 clean sheets on the spin's unheard of, really. Yeah, you're going to let one in here and there through whatever reason. But defensively, I mean, whenever I see you at a game, I say, like, whenever the ball goes in the box, throw it in there. I'm not asked one bit. We are definitely not going to concede. From a team needs to open us up. They can't just throw it in the box and open, because like if we play the percentages, we are always going to win that battle. So I've never got a concern with our back line. I've not said that for years with Rovers, to be honest. Like, even in our promotion seasons, I've always winced a little bit when we've been got at. But this back four under Barton, like, whatever Bond's done with them, he's drilled it home, and with them 2 screens in front of it most weeks, I think we look great defensively. That's our biggest attribute for me at the minute. How good we are defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying. Yes, I'm Cornish saying, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It definitely is. Tom also saying, bring on Forest Green. I'd love to play them next. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, after the Newport game, of course, we got likes of Crawley. Even I tell you what, even that's going to be another tough game, because for one, we don't have the best of records there, and for one, they're actually, I think they're 4th down on most points in 2022. They got 19 points. And it's going to be another interesting one. But, like you said, we've still got, home games, of course, coming up. We've got, Harrogate, Colchester, Salford, Forest Green. Still got to play them. And, of course, the away games, you got Carlisle, Crawley, Port Vale, Tranmere, of course, Newport on the weekend. So it's going to be interesting. But like you said, if we can just keep playing the way we are, and you're right as well, Neil, like you said, with the, since Connolly's come in, remember we was on that dodgy boat bar in Peterborough, and Connolly's you just signed him. I'm like, who's this like 15-year-old? And he just
don't diss Charters, mind. That's one of my favourite local pubs. What does it say that you come to Peterborough? What does it say you come to Peterborough and then you were just done great since? I wanted to make a point actually as well. So isn't it pretty amazing that in the space of what feels like nothing, that no time at all, that Neil pointed out that we're defensively solid, because we were shipping goals left, right, and centre, and all of a sudden we've actually conceded 5 goals less than Newport. And so I would imagine that we've conceded so few goals, 5 clean sheets in the last 6, that just shows it's not just a slight improvement; it is a complete and utter turnaround. It is a U-turn. And who would have thought that some youthful faced 20-year-old from Cardiff who'd never played a minute of senior football was part of the key to that as well. I thought I've sort of got a bit of sidetracked as well with the last question and answered it in will we get promoted sense. We've had the cohesion, we've had a fit team available, and actually the most pleasing thing for me is, apart from that, is that I think not long ago we were talking about ensuring that we take the next step, that we make sure that Oldham's a blip, and we've just continued that form on and grown. And so a lot of people, we were only a few games ago, we're talking about, it's now we're not going to get playoffs, it would be nice, but it's an outside chance. Rovers knew that if they won the next few games, that they could take it into their own hands, and they've done that. So since January, we've consistently made those steps, and we're now, we have taken the steps we needed to get almost in the playoffs. But what absolute scenes it would be if we managed to beat them on Saturday and get in there. The confidence is ours. We will probably lose a game or two, maybe a few more, maybe we won't. But at the end of the day, the majority of those results are now ultimately suspiciously starting to look like that results profile for success that Barton said, win regularly, lose, draw occasionally, and lose rarely. So let's see if that works.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree. And I tell you what would be interesting, I'll have to look at it after and maybe do a post on it. But even just looking at the difference between, of course, fitness has a lot. Fitness and injuries has had a lot to do with our improvement, and how bad we were early on. Of course, not keeping a settled team, but then not keeping that a settled team was basically from the injuries, etc. But it'd be interesting to look at, the sheer difference from the first 23 games and then since December or January, whenever it was. Since the Peterborough game, how many points and etc. we've got. But obviously going over the last 5 games, of course, Rovers, like we said, 5 clean sheets out of 6, but of course last 5, 4 clean sheets out of 6, of course 1 draw, looking really good. 2-0 win at Sutton, home to Sutton, away to Orient, beating Barrow last night. Didn't play amazing, but still got the win thanks to Anthony Evans. And then, of course, the 4-0 thumping at Stevenage, which should have been about 9 or 10 in the end. But, yeah, and of course, going on to Newport, the last 5 games, of course, 1-1 draw last night with Forest Green. Beat Tranmere 4-2 at home, drew at home to Mansfield 1-1, drew at home to Oldham 3-0. What a mad game that was. That was a game after Oldham beat us as well, and then they lost 1-0 away to Northampton. So, yeah, obviously not loads of wins, but, of course, they're a very good team. Again, like I said earlier on, they're playing the 5th home game in a row, and like we've seen, like I've shown you, that their home form is very good, and of course they're scoring a lot of goals. But getting into lineups, of course, everyone that's watching live, get your lineups down in the predictions. Down in the comments, get your lineups. And Louis as well, who I'm guessing is a Newport fan, saying Bristol Rovers will lose to Newport this weekend. If you are a Newport fan, then get your lineup as well. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, going with you, Benji, what are you saying? And as well, everyone that's watching, if you haven't already, please do smash the like button. And if you are new, then lineup wise.
Back to full strength for me. The usual formation and the usual back 5. Belly and goal, of course, Hall, Taylor, Connolly and Harry Anderson. I'm backing Harry Anderson to come back in there. Belly put a foot wrong wherever he's played on the left-hand side for the last few games. I know that Nick Anderson only got 60 minutes. I'm not entirely sure if he's fully recovered, but you can't leave Harry Anderson out of a team. And you've also got to fit in Evans and the other Anderson as well into that team. And so Coots and Finley ahead of them. Both of those will return. I've gone with Nicholson, Evans, and Elliot Anderson as the 3, with Collins up top. I think Nicholson does add so much, like we were saying earlier, in terms of driving forward as well. I do wonder whether. So we're actually, a comment I forgot to say earlier as well is actually he's got 6 goals and 5 assists this season as well. So it feels like he hasn't been anywhere near as good as he could have done, because he's getting himself into those positions and he's played well. I do, perhaps he might need a rest after this, but he's got to start. And I don't think he's the one person that Barton hasn't left out recently as well. And so he's got to start. And then Collins returns up top for me.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one that you're putting Harry Anderson at left back. But all about opinions, and yeah, it should be interesting. Obviously, like you said, Anderson did go off. I think it was just basically to go more attacking. I thought he was very solid last night as well. But yeah, Louis said, I'm a Port Vale fan. I was only joking. I reckon you'll get a draw. Yeah, I'll take a draw. Of course, we'll get into predictions in a minute. Matt's has gone with Belshaw, Hall, Taylor, Connolly, Anderton, Coots, Finley, Harry Anderson, Evans, Nicholson, Collins as well. But yeah, Neil, what are you saying? Are you going to agree with Benji to play Harry at left back, or are you going to sacrifice one of the midfielders to put Anderton in left back?
No, I'd go with what I consider to be our most balanced side, which will be the back four that I think is our best back four at the minute because Grant's not fit, which would be Belly and goal, and then the usual two centre halves of Taylor Connolly, Hall at right back, and then Nick Anderton at left back. And then I'd play your double screen of Coots and Finley back in there. Evans in the hole. Harry Anderson, left-hand side. Sammy Nick, right-hand side. Collins up top. And then flood the bench with the likes of, Nolan, Loft, Clark, Elliot Anderson. And I think that's where a game against sides in and around that top 6-7, that's where the game's won, when you sort of get a solid foundation, find out what the game's at, and then you look at it on the hour, and then you go and blitz it. You either run all over them with fresh legs, or you tweak it a little bit to either go a little bit more intricate and shorten your game up, or decide to go longer, depending on how the game pans out. But that's what I start with as a solid foundation, the most balanced side I think we've got at the minute available to us.
Yeah.
And then introduce a flair later on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Louis saying, I can't wait to until you play you at Vale Park. Should be a good game. Yeah, I'm buzzing for that. Of course, on Easter Monday as well. And yeah, looking forward. I think the second time I'll be going there. Of course, the last time I want to forget really, because that was when the absolute fraud that was Bob Harris scored a mad own goal and we lost and we were terrible. But yeah, that should be a quality game. I'm looking forward to that. Bertie Tom saying Harry's in for Taylor. Harry's in for Taylor, behave. Juan as well, even into Juan as well, Argentinian gas. Hello, guys, UTG. A good game yesterday. Yeah, good in the end. Win. Yeah, absolutely. Tom saying he'll probably still be froze at Oldham. Yeah, he's still there, on the pitch. There's like a frozen statue of Harry's there still now today. Regan as well saying 4-2-3-1. Belshaw, Hall, Connolly, Taylor, Harry Anderson, Coots, Finley, Nicholson, Elliot Anderson, Evans. So yeah, he's gone with the same as you, Benji, which is interesting. But yeah, for me, my lineup, I agree with Neil. Even though Harry Anderson, he was good at left back against Exeter, but we need to have him more forward. Personally, what's this? We can't hear you. What's this?
No, you can. You're all right.
Oh, good.
You put in your leg probably.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm like, I've got no, but yeah, I'd go with the same. Belly in goal, Luca Hall at right back, Connolly, Taylor centre back, Anderton at left back, Coots and Finley in the middle, Anthony Evans behind the striker of Collins, and then Harry Anderson left and Nicholson on the right. Of course, yeah, like Neil said, I think I sort of get, of course, I get why, of course, Exeter game, Harry Anderson played left back because of Anderton was injured, but I wouldn't just shoehorn, even though Elliot Anderson's been good, you can't just play all these amazing players. I'd rather see Harry Anderson's way more effective, even though he can do a good job. He's way more effective as an actual winger. And yeah, for me, for at least the first half, he's probably the main threat for us going forward. So yeah, Matt saying I can hear you fine. But yeah, getting into predictions though. Of course, get your predictions down in the comments below. Let us know what you think. But yeah, Benji, going with you first. What are you saying for Newport?
As I said earlier, if I was putting some money on it, I'd be betting on both teams to score rather than an outcome, because it could go either way. We have momentum, but then again, Newport have just beaten Tranmere and they've just taken a point off Forest Green, despite obviously their slight blip in form. I'm going to go 1-1 again. It's going to be a draw in my opinion. I think we might cancel each other out. I do want to say Rovers to edge it, but that'd be me being a little bit too glass half full for that. But I'm going to go 1-1 Rovers.
Yeah, that's the interesting one. I think that's the first. I think you predicted the same for Exeter and you got that right. So yeah, Yeah, that's fair enough. Get a few predictions before we come to Neil's. Matt saying 1-1. Regan saying, I'd love a cheeky 93-minute winner, 2-1 Rovers. Newport to score first. YouTube does keep cutting out. Wait, let me... Yeah, click off and reload the page and it works fine. Tom saying 2-2. But yeah, Neil, what are you going for?
I think, as I said, like with the lineup, I think our bench could win it. We could run over them late on. So for me, with Newport having two of their probably favourable centre halves missing, I do think it'll be nip and tuck for a lot of it because they're going to be both well drilled sides. Like, we don't concede goals really. I think if we concede one, I'm pretty disappointed at the minute. I think it'll be 1-1. They do score a lot of goals, Newport. They are good going forward. We're excellent defensively at the minute. I think it will sort of be 1-1 at one point. I just fancy our bench to turn it, and I think we'll nick it 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah. I mean, I'll get into mine in a sec as well. Louis saying the playoff race is going to be interesting. I reckon Port Vale, Rovers, Exeter, and Newport will get playoffs. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, especially with a lot of sort of teams in and around it playing each other as well. Jamie Stockley going, Newport defensively can be got at, going to be a very tight, but the Gas will win 2-1. Collins and Finley with the goals. BRC Thompson 1-0 Gas, Elliot Anderson golazo. Yeah, very interesting that. I love a clean sheet against Newport, not going to lie. Mitch saying 2-1 Rovers as well, so another 2-1 win coming in there. Regan saying Aaron Collins pulverizer from 30 yards. Of course, I forgot to mention as well. I know a lot of you probably know, but of course, Aaron Collins used to play for Newport as well. Of course, he was at Rovers Academy up until I think he was 14, and then he went to Newport, and of course, he was there for quite a few years before they sold him to Wolves. But yeah, of course, going back to Newport, hopefully he can come back to haunt, and of course, hopefully Telford doesn't come back to haunt us either. But he probably will. He's on fire. Actually, John Nolan debut goal, 1-0 Rovers. But yeah, of course, keep getting your predictions in. Smash a like if you've enjoyed this stream. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I think Newport will go 1-0 up. I think it'll probably be Telford. And then I think Collins and Evans with the goals. A late win for Rovers would be nice. Obviously, Limbs, I'm going as well. And of course, I forgot to mention as well, if any of you know anyone that's got any tickets, or any of you that's ill or maybe has COVID or whatever,
in need,
then yeah, please let Neil know, or even Benji. I don't know if you're still planning to go, Benji, if you can find a ticket.
I haven't got a ticket. I'll be here probably.
Yeah, but yeah, if anyone knows of any tickets going, then let Neil will pay whatever for a ticket. So yeah, just let him know, either Twitter, etc. But yeah, I'm Mitch also going with Collins and Finley to score. But yeah, I've also gone with a 2-1 win. But of course, gonna end it in a set. But don't forget, on Sunday as well, we'll be back again for another Sunday stream, because of course we've got another Tuesday night away game. Crawley away on Tuesday. So Regan saying 100 quid. Are you willing to pay that for a Newport ticket?
Ask him that on the day and he'd say yes.
Don't know. Get hold of me in a bit, lad.
Yeah. Message Neil is you can see his wait there, let me just move this banners. Yeah, you can see his Twitter there. It's on screen. So yeah, message him if you got a ticket. Juan saying Collins and Evans for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, funny one, Tom, trying to get me again. Yeah, good one. I'm not falling for that. Coots to score for Rovers, says Matt in the 1-1. Evening to Mark as well. 2-0 Rovers, Collins with both. It'd be interesting to see what his celebration is as well. Because I'm not too sure if he's I know he's of course Welsh, but I don't know if he's from Newport. be interesting if he is. But yeah, be interesting to see his celebration, considering he was there for like 7-8 years. I ain't parting with it easy, like says Regan. Louis said if Bristol Rovers got to play any of the top, we still got to play Forest Green at home. We still, excuse me, we still got to play Tranmere away as well. And then the rest we've played Mansfield twice already.
We've got Northampton away this month.
Northampton away as well. He's a Newport fan, isn't he? Is he actually a Newport fan? Aaron Collins. Oh, that's interesting. And of course, his brother plays for Newport as well, which is interesting. But we're going to end it now. Like I said, I'll be back on Sunday for, of course, going over the Newport game and, of course, previewing Crawley away on the Tuesday. Of course, thanks to everyone that's tuned in live. Smash a like if you haven't already, of course. Appreciate the class support. Appreciate Benji and Neil for coming on again. Of course, Benji's dog as well. Thanks for him to coming on and in the background loving
Thanks
it as well.
Expert
Which
knowledge
is good
there.
to see. Appreciate. Got one last one as well. Jack's Ford saying 1-0. Coots with the goal. Who are up the gas. Facebook Saturday morning will have a few going. Alas, people won't be able to go. Mark Gray says UTG. Tom saying cheers, lads. But we're going to end it now. Thanks for tuning in. If you've just got in or haven't got your prediction in or whatever, then leave it after the stream. But keep the notifications on. I will be at the game this weekend. I'm planning, I know I've said it times and I've had crap going on my phone, etc., but I'm planning to do a vlog. And I promise, I won't break this promise, but I'm doing a vlog as well. See you on Sunday at 7 p.m. in the next live Up the Gas.